Hi guys, JT here, and today I'm bringing you my 8 choices in Fanatical's Play on the Go bundle of January 2023. Just FYI, these games are also games that you can play on your Steam Deck. So let's get into this! Choice number 1. Roundguard. A game that is akin to a pachinko machine or Peggle, but with roguelike elements. Castle Springbottom is under attack, your king has gone missing, and you have to go rescue him, defeating every enemy in your way while collecting gold. It's simple, and it isn't the main focus of the game. The gameplay may seem simple too, like a machine you find where you fire a ball and the ball rolls down from the top, hitting everything it comes in contact with, but this has a roguelike spin to it, and you have access to special abilities. You start by choosing a character class, and you'll progress through a series of stages, defeating enemies and smashing pots to rack up high scores and loot to grow your arsenal. It starts out as simply aiming at the nearest enemy, but as the game progresses, you'll need to think strategically on how to take on each room to better upgrade your character. The 3 classes available, Warrior, Rogue, and Wizard, all have different characteristics and abilities that will change up your game. Warriors are tankier, Rogues can double jump, and Wizards can cast spells. You'll build upon your character in each run, leveling them up to become more powerful and modifying your gameplay with different items, abilities, and trinkets, making it a bit more like a roguelike on a pachinko machine. If you want to change up your game, you can activate various relics that will make your game easier or harder, in your pursuit of a high score on the leaderboards. The gameplay is addictive with a stellar presentation, and you will find yourself coming back for more. Choice number 2. Neon Abyss, a roguelike platformer shooter. You play as one of the Grim Squad, a team of vengeful souls who all have a grudge against the new gods. They've basically killed you and you want payback. Hades gives you a chance of revenge and you're summoned into Purgatory, which is now an afterlife nightclub. Purgatory acts as a central hub where you can get information on playable characters, items, and so forth. In the Abyss, you'll be navigating and shooting away through interconnected rooms while collecting various weapons, perks, and gold. You'll also come across boss rooms while exploring, which you can choose to enter the first time you encounter them or come back later, once you've done more looting. You'll also stumble upon various hidden rooms filled with enemies or treasure, and shops to aid you in your run. Most rooms will have you killing some form of enemy, and you have to murder everything in that room before moving on to the next room. Each character that you bring into the Abyss has their own special skills which you can trigger, like a dodge roll or switching between a gun and katana, among others. You can unlock more characters and upgrades using gems which you can obtain by murdering bosses in each level. Being a roguelike, you never really know what weapons you'll be getting, nor how the maps will actually look like. After 5 levels, you've killed the ultimate target, and the next time you jump into the Abyss, you'll be presented with a new target and a new set of levels, with each new Abysses having more levels and becoming progressively more difficult. To aid you in these harder Abysses are your various perks, weapons, and upgrades. It is a gem, and is definitely worth your time if you're willing to spend it on a roguelike. Choice number 3. Lethal League Blaze, a fighting game that acts like a game of Pong on drugs. It is a mix of Pong, Dodge, and Tennis, coming together to form a fresh take on fighting games, backed up with some awesome soundtracks. The goal of the game is to hit an anti-gravity projectile, basically a sort of ball, towards your opponent within a confined arena, chipping away at their health until you're the last one standing. There are 10 characters for you to choose from, each with their own unique characteristics and looks. Every time the ball is hit, it gets faster, so even though it may start out relatively slow, as the match progresses, you're hitting and dodging what seem to be a bullet. The faster the ball travels, the more damage it will deal. There's a ton of moves that you can do, to either give the ball an immediate burst of speed, like grabbing and throwing the ball, or performing an aerial smash strike. Each character has access to one special ability that is unique to them. These abilities can be unleashed once you've built up a meter upon successive hits. As an example, Dice can curve a ball, while Latch can eat the ball and spit it out at opportune moments. This game is best played in multiplayer up to 4 people, frantically hitting and dodging on every increasingly lethal ball. There is also a story campaign that you can play that will introduce some rule-bending matches to keep the gameplay interesting. This game is awesome for those who love a spin on competitive multiplayer fighting games. Choice number 4. Blacksad, Under the Skin, a narrative-driven noir detective game featuring animal humanoids. This game features a ton of suspense and focus on investigations. Taking place in the 1950s, you play as John Blacksad, a detective who is also a cat. Joe Dunn, the owner of a boxing club, committed suicide, and a boxer named Bobby Yale disappears before his career-defining fight. You're hired by Joe's daughter, Sonia Dunn, to investigate the relation between these 2 incidents. You can decide on the personality of John through choices made in dialogue, which will affect your reaction as you interact with the various cast of characters. You can make John a corrupted detective, or one who upholds the law. Needless to say, you'll be doing a lot of talking in this game, necessary to solving the crime. You can explore the various environments peppered with clues that will allow you to put pieces together to solve the case. Finding clues also give access to new dialogue choices to question potential suspects. There are also quick time events where you have to react quickly or face certain doom. When you die, you can simply restart the scene again, like in Telltale's The Walking Dead. In terms of your detective skills, you can look around and observe suspicious items, as well as use your cat senses to find unusual smells, listen carefully to a sound, or highlight things. Combining clues will yield new results. It isn't too difficult, so you can move the narrative along. Although this game has a slow start, this game tells a unique story in a unique world with an interesting main character. So if you like narrative-heavy games, definitely give this a go. Choice number 5. Toodee and Topdee, a mind-bending, perspective-shifting game that takes its characters' names literally. It is a puzzle platformer game that plays with and combines the perspective of 2D and a top-down perspective, hence the name Toodee and Topdee. The story goes that 2D lives in a 2D platforming world, while Topdee lives in a top-down 2D puzzle adventure world. After some crazy occurrence, the two worlds smash together, and now you have to look for a missing semicolon, the thing that keeps the universe in perfect balance. Wacky story! Anyway, the goal of the game is to get 2D and Topdee to each level's exit portal, which usually involves collecting a key. You can switch between the characters that will not only change the perspective between a 2D platformer and a top-down puzzle game, but also change the way enemies and objects behave. As an example, Topdee can shuffle blocks from their world, then you can switch back to 2D for you to jump on said block in the 2D world. Levels are divided into worlds, with each introducing new items, enemies, and concepts. Well-designed bosses cap off each world. Puzzles are impressive, and working out the solution is a massive part of the fun. Some puzzles will require some lateral thinking, as you have to think about how actions in one world affects the other. Levels are short and sweet, but there are also optional time-based tests that will put pressure on you. There's also a ton of content to unlock, so be prepared to play a lot of this. You can also go on co-op with a buddy, taking control of each character that will create all kinds of chaos. Overall, Toodee and Topdee is a fantastically imaginative puzzle game, literally combining two different puzzle platformers into one. Choice number 6. Everhood, a rhythm-based adventure RPG game that is not like anything in the market, at least to me anyway. You play as Red, a puppet awakened in a psychedelic world. Your job is to retrieve your stolen arm from an immortal inhabitant of this world called Gold Pig, and to get it you have to explore the world of Everhood, talking to its inhabitants and fighting others. The story is quite bizarre in its own right, but the battle system is what sets Everhood apart from most 2D RPG games. Instead of the usual turn-based or real-time hack and slash, you go through a rhythm game of sorts, dodging attacks of enemies based on the music tempo. Later in the game, you gain abilities to deflect attacks, etc, etc. Speaking of music tempo, the battle music in this game is absolutely banging, and you'll find yourself headbanging to the rhythm. Do know that even though this is an RPG game, there are no skill trees to speak of. Everhood is a great game that you probably never experienced before. Being this cheap in this bundle, it is definitely worth a try. Choice number 7. Lacuna, a sci-fi noir adventure. A narrative mystery noir detective adventure game set in a sci-fi future. Humanity has taken over much of the solar system when suddenly one of its civilizations literally collapses, killing thousands of people. Fast forward in time, you play as Neil Conrad investigating a murder while dealing with his own family issues. The story is the highlight of this game, dealing with corruption, interplanetary politics, and a bit of family drama. Navigating the world is quite simple. You move around in a 2D space and find important things with investigation mode, things you can't normally see with your naked eye. While in investigation mode, you can move around and interact with highlighted objects. You also have sheets to fill and submit. These sheets ask you questions about events occurring in the news, what evidence you have found, and who your suspects are. You only have one chance to answer them correctly, so be sure to seriously put your detective hat on. Read news articles and emails on your phone for information. These sheets can change the whole outcome of the story. The game only has one save file, and the game autosaves on its own, so you have to live with your decisions and choices throughout the game, making you realize how important your decisions are. What's even more immersive is that the game does not hold your hand while you are trying to solve puzzles. This game features 8 different endings determined by your choices, and with a 4-hour playthrough each time, it will take you a while to see all 8 endings. Choice number 8. Kill It With Fire. A game that gives you the opportunity to exact revenge on spiders that have haunted your childhood for decades. The aim of the game is to hunt spiders down around the various maps and kill them with whatever means necessary, even if you have to ring up your insurance company later to let them know that you've literally shut up your entire house trying to kill spiders. You start with a simple clipboard to squash spiders with. The clipboard also shows you additional objectives available in each level. These could range from smashing up a bunch of picture frames or arranging tools in a sequence. While optional, they do grant you new weapons and upgrades. You can also find new weapons by simply searching around the environment. The basic idea is you track spiders down with your spider tracker, sort of like the ghost tracker from Ghostbusters. Then interact with your environment like opening cupboards, flipping pictures from frames around, looking for these creepy crawlies. Once you have found them, you are to exterminate them with a variety of weapons ranging from a clipboard to a flamethrower made from a spray can to a double-barrel shotgun. A ton of mayhem will soon befall you as fires start and many spiders crawling around in unnatural speeds as you try to shoot them one by one. The spiders also come in different shapes and sizes, with some spawning smaller spiders upon death and others exploding with impressive force. Although the guns can feel slow to aim, this game is a fun little distraction for you to exact revenge on spiders. At number 9, we have a bonus, a game that would have been picked for the sheer supposed quality seen on videos and the trailer. Daymare, 1998. A survival horror game developed by an indie studio of 10 people that tried to bring old school survival horror back into the modern world. What started as an unofficial Resident Evil 2 remake titled Resident Evil 2 Reborn, it eventually evolved into its very own game. The story revolves around 3 characters, which will have you play the deadly events from different perspectives and timelines, with all paths leading to a cinematic showdown and gripping ending. 2 of the characters are operatives from a special forces team known as Hades, and the other, a local forest ranger named Sam who seemed to be caught in the middle of the madness. Sam's town of Keenside, Idaho is ground zero for a contagion that turned the population into monstrosities. Playing in third person, your movement is deliberate and pretty slow. There are steep repercussions for just charging forward like an action game, as the undead will attack you with unpredictable speeds and erratic movements, making you think about each of your moves carefully. To make things more intense, health and ammo are scarce, and the reloading mechanic where you have to literally load up bullets into a magazine before reloading into your gun heightens up the tension. Not only that, as the game is live as you're reloading your magazine, so enemies can still puke all over you as you try to put your bullets into your magazine. Limited resources also make exploration key, as you uncover more details about the events of the game and collect resources. Each level also presents you with unique puzzles reminiscent of old school Resident Evil, with some challenging ones. Bosses are difficult, they will see you planting a ton of bullets into their faces before going down. While this game was clearly crafted with a ton of love for old school Resident Evil, some people just don't like the deliberate slow movements and awkward reload mechanic. And that's all, folks! Did you agree with these picks? What would you pick? Let me know in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next video.